as I said earlier, so the two very important problem solving strategies. We have a smart number strategy and we have work with the answer choices strategy. So these are the two very important strategies in solving the problem solving questions. Now the point here is, so let's say this is first and second. Now when should we use a smart number strategy? Just a minute, yeah. Thank you. All right. So when should we use a smart number strategy? Whenever we have variables in the answer choices, okay? We have already seen a smart number strategy, right, in the last class. Now, this particular strategy is to be used whenever we have variables in the answer choices in the question, or we have a question on fraction or percent, or we have a question with a specific input, but we do not, but it is, that particular input is not given. So what I mean to say by that, so anyways, we will be doing all this, but problems with a specific input, but they do not give that input. So for example, the problem says that X is a positive prime number, right? X is a, sorry, not a positive prime number. X is an even prime number, right? So the problem here has mentioned about X, and what is the criteria which defines that X? That it is even prime number. So if they give you this, but they have not given that variable, that what is X, so you can take it obviously as per the condition. So as per the condition, definitely even prime number, that means X is equals to 2, right? So sometimes in the question, when they give you with a specific input or the criteria, but they do not give that particular variable, right? Then you can assume that. Again, you can assume that with a smart number over here, right? Now work done, work with the answer choices. So now when you should be using this particular strategy? When you need to work with the equations. That means whenever you have urge to frame an equation, start with the answer choices. Or whenever the question asks for a specific value. So what does that mean? The question asks for a specific value. Maybe the question is asking for how many, right? The question asks for how many. Or the question asks for what is the value, right? Then you go ahead with the options. That is back solving strategy. You can also call it as back solving strategy. So there are two conditions when you have to use your answer choices. The first one is you have the urge to frame an equation. That is, you have need to work with the equations. Or the question asks you for the specific value, then use this particular strategy, right? Now let's see with the question over here. Yeah, does not read the question?
Sure. Andra, Elif, and Grady each invested in a certain stock. Andra invested Q dollars, which was 40% more than Elif invested. If Elif invested 25% less than Grady invested, what was the total amount invested by all three in terms of Q?
All right. So here the question is asking, what was the total amount invested by all three? How can we solve this question, Nishya? What is the way in which we can solve this question?
Like we can probably take a smart number here, like 100.
Okay, so is there a specific reason? Right. So is there a specific reason for choosing a smart number here? What has prompted you that you should be using the smart number?
So since we're dealing with percentages here, I thought if you start with a number like 100, then
right, as it is a question, as it's a problem on the percentage, and moreover, here we have variables, right? Do we have variables here in the answer choices? Do we have the variables in the answer choices?
Yes.
Yes, right? So definitely we can use a smart number here. All right. So as you said, that's correct. That is, as it is a question on the percentages, we have everything given in the percentages, no absolute number. So definitely that motivates us that we should be using a smart number. The second reason is we have variables in the answer choices only, right? We have variable in the question, that is invested Q dollar. So definitely that's the second reason that we should be using the smart number strategy. All right. Now, once this is done, Piyush, can you tell me that what smart number should we be choosing? So it's given over here. Okay, first of all, let us try to understand what is given to us in the question.
I'll take something like 400 maybe, because one fraction is 1/4, which is 25%. The another fraction is 40%, which is 4/10. So an LCM of 10 and 4 will be 400, just to round off.
Okay, so let's write down. Let's understand what is given to us in the question. So it's given that Andra, she has invested Q dollars, right? And it is 40% more than Elif invested. So this is 40% more than Elif investment. Then the next is about Elif. So what is given for Elif?
25% less than
Right? 25% less than who? Grady. So 25% less than Grady. Okay, the question is asking for the total amount invested by all the three. So here now the question is asking for total amount. Okay, so fine. As you said, it's better to take 400. You want to take 400 for whom now?
400 for Grady. Because
Perfect.
yes.
Right. So instead of 400, Piyush, can we work with 100 also? Because everything is here in percentages, right?
I could just see that, once we take 100 and do like a 3/4 for LF, that will come to 75. Then I'll have to go for a 40% of 75, which might create a problem. So I thought it's better to go for 400, ताकि 25% less 300 हो जाए, and 300 का फिर 40% में increase करके 120 add कर सकता हूँ easily.
Right. Definitely, we can do that also. We can do that also. So absolutely no problem. So okay. So you want to take for Grady as 400. Now, how much will be for LF?
300.
So LF is 25% less than. So 25% less than means 3/4 of 400.
Right.
Right. So 3/4 of 400, which is equals to 300. Right. And then for Andra,
it will be 40% more than this, which is like 14/10.
Right. 40% more than LF. So 40% more than LF. So that means 1.4 into 300. Right.
Right.
So 1.4 into 300, which is equals to how much?
420.
420. All right. Now what next? Instead of this, don't you think it will be better to take 100 only because we are working with all these big numbers? फिर यहाँ पे multiply करना पड़ेगा. Is it or not?
Yes, but also, ma'am, I was thinking, is it required to take a number as such? Can't we just work on the Q terms as such? No.
Okay. Fine. So I agree on your point, Piyush, that is it required to take a number. Now the thing is, you have three variables here: Andra, LF, and Grady. Right? You will have three equations. You need to work with three equations, and you have to get everything in terms of Q. Basically, you need to find the sum of all the three components, right? In terms of Q, right? So because now the point here is, why not to take 100? Let's do with 100 and then see how the things will become easy, right?
Sure.
So if we take Grady as 100, right? Now what will be the amount for LF? 25% less than Grady.
75.
75, right? And what about Andra? Andra is 40% more than LF. So 40% more than LF, that means 1.4 times of 75. So 1.4 times of 75, how to make the multiplication easy? So you just multiply it with 75 into 1, then 75 into 0.4. How much is 75 into 0.4? How much is that?
30.
30, right? Which gives us how much? 105, right? Now this one, which was easy. I think this is easy, taking 100, right? Now what about, because we can see the numbers are pretty easy over here, right? Now, okay, now what is given for Andra? What is given for Andra? That Andra invested Q dollars. So 105 is equals to how much? Q, right? Now we need to find the sum of all these three, right? So what is the sum of all these three?
280.
Right.
I think we can then proportionate if 105 is equal to Q, then 280 is what in terms of Q.
Right. Now what we need to do, we will substitute Q is equals to 105 here in the answer choices, and the answer choice which is giving us the sum as 280, that's going to be the correct answer, right?
Right.
So if you look at this, whether is it going to give us 280?
No.
2Q? No, right? We can eliminate option A. What about the option B? Do I need to really work with option B? No, we need 280, right? But here we have 41 into 105 by 20. Definitely it's not going to be an integer, but we need an integer 280 here, right? So definitely this is also, can we eliminate it?
Right.
Okay, now can you tell me what about the option C?
Again, not 280. Again, not 280.
Will we get 280?
No, something less than that.
We will not get, because see, here we will get number which is ending in 2, right? We need not to go ahead with the multiplication. We need not to do the calculation also. We can just eliminate it, right? Because the unit digit of this multiplication will result in 2. Here the unit digit is 0, right? So definitely not. What about this? 18 into 105 by 7. So again,
15.
This is how much?
18 into 15.
Right, 18 into 15. So how much is 18 into 15?
270.
270, right? So again, it is not. So definitely the correct answer is
8Q by 3.
Right. Okay. Now again, this is a difficult question. It's not an easy smart number question. It's a difficult question. But now you tell me what makes better sense. Okay, what makes better sense? So here I have 2 points. The first point is using number 100 or using number 400. With which the calculation was better?
100, yeah.
With
100 definitely, yeah.
100. All right. Okay. Now, working with a variable was better or taking the smart number was better?
Smart number.
Yes. Because see, again, if you would have been working with the variables, you will have 3 equations, right? And then you have, because 3 variables here, Andra, elephant, Grady, right? And everything you have to write it again in terms of cube, right? And then you have to take the sum of all that, right? So definitely it makes sense over here to work with the smart number. So hope this is clear. Yes. Delzan, is this clear to you?
Yes.
Any step which is a problem, please do not hesitate in asking. Ask me anything, maybe whatever doubt you have, Delzan. Is there anything which is a doubt to you?
No. As of now, it's very clear.
All right.
Like,
So,
I just
yes,
have
Nisha.
a quick question. Like, here I
Yes.
know it worked for us that Grady, we took it as 100, but in the interest of time and during the exam, like, how do we decide which variable should we start with 100, or it could
Very
be
good
Elif
point. And
or
awesome
any.
question, Nishit. I really appreciate this question. See, in fact, I was going to explain you about this, that probably you might be thinking, okay, ma'am, ne bata diya hai ki theek hai, smart number डालना है. पहले तो आप smart number देखो क्या होना चाहिए. And the second is, you have to check all the answer choices, right? So there are 2 things which you need to do. But the very important thing is you have to get the answer correct, and that too quickly. Now, as you asked, Nishit, that which number to start, right? Sorry, which variable to start with, right? And what
Correct.
number to take, right? So here, suppose if I would have started with Andra, because the variable given here, that is Q, that is for Andra only, that Andra invested Q dollars. So most of the students will think, okay, let's start with Q as 100. But then don't you think we have to again reverse our calculation? It's again going to make our calculation messy. Because if I take Q is equals to 100, now which is 40% more than LF invested. So I cannot take 60 for LF, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
So see, so this is not going to make the calculation easy. The point here is, why am I using a smart number strategy? And the reason is that in order to make the calculation easy, in order to avoid the algebraic equations, right? We are going ahead with the smart number strategy approach. But if it is going to increase our work, definitely it does not make it an effective approach. Okay. So that's the first thing. You have to choose that variable to plug in the smart number, with which the calculation becomes easy. That's the first thing. The second thing is that instead of, now you might be thinking, okay, I need to check all the answer choices. So again, here comes the point that you do not have to really calculate for all the options. See, I eliminated option B and option C directly. Now, why I eliminated option B directly? Because it is 41 into 105 by 20. But I want the number as 280, right? So 41 into 105 by 20 will give the decimal number. So no need to calculate it. You can eliminate it directly only, right? Then if I look at the option C, that is 12 into 105 by 5, right? So again, I got to know, okay, so this is 12 into 21. I didn't do the complete calculation because I know the unit digit which is there in my in the answer should be 0. But here the unit digit is what? We are getting the unit digit as 2, right? 12 into 21. So I eliminated that also. I didn't do the calculation. Yeah, but we have to work with option A, D, and E. Right. So in order to make it an effective strategy, we need to the moment, and for easy questions or the medium level questions, it's going to be very clear that which number you have to choose as the smart number, and which variable you have to choose as the for which variable you have to choose the smart number. That will be clear. But when it comes to the difficult question, then you have to take a pause and think for which variable should I give the smart number. Okay, that's the first point. The second point is, are there any answer choices that I really need to work completely? Can I get rid of a few answer choices directly only? So that's the second thing which you need to think upon, right, in order to make this strategy effective. So hope this answers your question, Nisha. Still you have,
Yes,
you can
ma'am.
go ahead.
Yeah,
Still
it
if you
makes
have, you
sense.
can go ahead.
No, this makes sense. Yeah.
All right, Piyush, whether it is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Now we will be doing the next question. Yeah, read the question here. Yes, Nisha.
If Mason is now twice as old as Gunter was 10 years ago, and G is Gunter's current age in years, which of the following represents the sum of Mason and Gunter's ages 4 years from now?
Yeah, I think there is a problem with my